A ceasefire between Ukraine's government forces and pro-Russian separatists in the east of the country came into effect a few hours ago after Presidents Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky gave their joint support to it during a phone call on Sunday. Conflict began in 2014 after Russia-backed separatists seized eastern Ukraine and Moscow annexed Crimea. More than 13,000 people have died and 1.5 million have been displaced. Well, Michael Bociurkiw is a global affairs analyst and former spokesperson for the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission to Ukraine. He's currently in Vancouver and is very kindly joining us now. Good to speak to you, Michael. How likely do you think it is we're going to see this ceasefire remaining, considering we've had so many of these over the past few years and they just haven't worked?
You're exactly right. There have been so many in the past few years, and none of them have held, including the big one agreed late last fall in Paris at the Normandy Format Summit between Putin and Zelensky themselves. However, there's nothing in my mind to indicate any kind of confidence-building measures are in place right now, because the reason I say that is the OSCE monitors have been blocked almost on a daily basis by the Russian-backed rebels. Their UAVs have been fired at. Their observation cameras have been also fired at. So very little to indicate that the rebels are interested in peace. And again, those ceasefire violations continue in the hundreds up until, the past 24 hours.
So where are we going to find peace? How is it going to happen, do you think?
Well, it's very simple. All President Putin has to do of Russia is make a call to Donetsk and Luhansk, where his fighters are, and tell them to stop. However, having said that, he is the master of manipulation. He does like to throw distraction. I would have thought, if you asked me a few weeks ago whether there were any incentives for him to bring peace to Donbass, that might have been the G7 summit that is supposed to happen later this year. But it now appears from my intelligence sources that he's not even interested in coming back into that. So very grim. And just quickly, Zelensky, on the other hand, this is very, very high stakes for him. I can't overemphasize it. He needs a big win, because bringing peace to the Donbass was a campaign plank of his, after all.
And briefly, what's the role of the international community here? Russia's had 6 years of sanctions and it hasn't really made a massive impact, has it?
It hasn't. I think Magnitsky Act type sanctions are required, even if it comes to pulling diplomats, closing down consulates, nothing in the diplomatic toolbox has worked so far. So I think stronger measures are needed. However, with COVID-19 and everything else happening in Europe, I don't sense a big appetite in European capitals for a strong arm on Russia at the moment.
OK, Michael, good to talk to you as always. Thank you very much indeed.